Hello and welcome to the Priggya Arora Show, where we discuss law and entrepreneurship with people who have been there and done that. My name is Priggya Arora, founder of PA Legal, an intellectual property law firm. And our guest for today is very talented, Sarah. She is an expert in legal design and she's an amazing person, and I can't tell you how beautiful looking and simple looking creative she makes on LinkedIn. And if you're not following her, do follow her. She's founder of Law But How, and let's directly dive into a conversation with her. Welcome, Sarah, on the show.
Thank you so much, Priggya, for having me.
Yeah. So Sarah, let's start out with something fun and interesting. We call it as our warm-up question. What is one thing in life that you can't live without?
You know, when I saw this question, I was like, I know the answer. That's my glasses. That's my glasses. My eyesight is so bad to the point where if I was left in, somewhere in the desert with absolutely nothing, I wouldn't die because I have no food or no water. I would die because I have no glasses on. This is as simple as that. So yeah, my glasses.
Yeah. Just to tell you something about myself, I used to be one with, very thick glasses, and I got LASIK done recently.
Oh my goodness.
So I resonate with you so much. So while I was in college, my first thing my roommate used to do was, Priggya, every morning I was like, Richa, I can't find my glasses. Where are they? And she would come and she would scold me first and then find out my glasses and give it to me.
Oh my goodness. That's very, very relatable.
Yeah, I know. So Sarah, now coming to your career journey, can you tell us something about that and how you became the person you are today?
Oh, absolutely. I will try to make it quick and hopefully interesting for the audience. But long story short, I've qualified as a lawyer. That was in 2014 in France. I'm a French qualified lawyer. I started to work in the UK in-house. That was my first permanent position in the UK in 2016. So a year and a half after graduation. So I've worked in the tech industry, and then I've stayed there a year and a half. I was part of a legal team. Then the second role as an in-house counsel, but it was a sole counsel position, so very different, because I was no longer shielded by a general counsel who would take all the accountabilities and have the vision. I was the one to actually do that. So I've been a sole counsel and I've grown a legal team from scratch. And that was back in 2017. And I stayed there for 4 years. And in parallel of my in-house legal career, I was creating content on social media. And I started with, giving value to people in terms of career, because I've really struggled to find a job myself. And then I understood the power of conveying information on social media for the legal industry. And this kind of really showed me another path. And as I was kind of sharing in-house legal related content as well, based on my experience, I kind of realized that I was more passionate by the practice of law, the solving problem in the legal industry versus the practice of law. So that's really what really led to where I am today. And this is why I've left in-house legal to focus on legal design and legal tech. So that's it.
It's very inspiring, Sarah. I know it's not very easy to, switch careers and go on the path that you really want to choose for yourself. It's not easy. It takes a lot of courage. So congratulations for that, and big shout out for doing that.
Thank you.
I'm sure a lot of women entrepreneurs get inspired seeing that, and it's in the industry that, as you said, legal tech and legal industry as a whole, it requires some transformation that we all are up to, and like leaving the older path on which lawyers were traveling and choosing the new one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You need to change your mindset.
Yeah, definitely. So, Sarah, one thing which, catches eye on your LinkedIn profile is authenticity, right? And I'm sure you must be hearing it from people about authenticity. So you have mentioned probably a period of 10 months which you were technically unemployed. So can you tell us what made you do that and come out to public and probably share the concerns of what it takes at that point when you do not have a job and you're looking and finding, probably you're not sitting idle, but you're finding something, you are exploring yourself maybe. So can you share something about your story about that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. The reason why I officially mentioned on LinkedIn that I faced a very long period of unemployment, but also, I found an internship. I was meant to do an internship, but this internship was a scam, so I got scammed as well. Like everything is, written on black and white on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And so as you mentioned, and the reason why I've done that is to kind of give some hope to people. And I'm yet to come across anyone who has had a very straightforward career. It might not be unemployment, or it might not be being scammed by a fake internship, right? But it might be other types of challenges. It might be a job that didn't work out, or it might be, having been managed by someone who, and it was a terrible experience. Like we've all had challenges in our career, and this is normal. This is sometimes what it takes to grow. And so that was really the spirit behind it, is that, hey, like I am where I am today because of those experiences as well. In some ways they've helped me, because when I was, struggling sometimes as an in-house lawyer, I would look back at this time where I was unemployed, or I would look back at this time where I was desperate for legal experience to the point where I went for an internship that didn't exist. So it gave me that perspective. It gave me a resilience. So every experience helps. And I want to normalize the conversation that we can be very successful, have very good careers without, having a straightforward journey.
Wow, I think it's an important message that everybody should learn, that probably career journey is never straightforward. It has ups, it has downs. And being business owners, like you are a business owner, I am a business owner, we know every month is not the same.
Yeah.
Every project is not the same, every client is not the same. So be it business, be it our study life, we all have this ups downs going on continuously. So another question that comes up now is, how do you juggle with your ups and downs? I'm sure you must have faced many, but what keeps you motivated?
Oh, 100%. My goodness. Like, I mean, I've been in business for not so long. It's been like less than a year. So I've launched Global How in 2021 when I left in-house. So it was in July of a summer. And I mean, what I found is, I mean, obviously everything I've been creating on social media has really been paying off.
Yeah.
Where originally, when I started to create content, it was very much to add value. I mean, I'm not saying I don't add value anymore now, but now I'm much more strategic because I have a business, to run. Whereas before, it was more in the content creation capacity. So I could share about everything and anything that came to my mind. But even then, even when doing that, I could see that when I said, hey, by the way, guys, I'm launching my own venture, so many people were supportive. And people started to reach out as well. They started to reach out, they started to be intrigued, by the type of services that I would offer. And in the beginning, you get excited, right? You get excited, you've got your first lead, you've got your first client call, you spend an enormous amount of time to prepare for a prospect, and then you never get a response. You send a quote, you never hear back, or you hear back 3 months later, or you give a price, I don't know, 100, the person comes back and say, oh, can you do it for 5? People negotiating you down, and so that's the reality of entrepreneurship,
Yes.
and that was new to me. So I think, it's so this has been really kind of my ups and downs. So knowing that, there's interest, that there is momentum, but realizing that, actually it's not that straightforward, just because people are interested doesn't mean that they will buy from you.
Correct.
Or they won't necessarily be the right customers for you, or they won't necessarily have the budget. And you know what, like, you have to pick a battle. You can't be everything to everyone. So I'm kind of, obviously I'm learning still, but these are the things that, I have experienced. And what keeps me going is my passion for what I do. I have a genuine passion.
Yeah.
And as I always say to people, I do these things for free. I create this content for free. So can you imagine what I can do when you pay me to do that for you? So that's really the drive and the passion that keeps me going.
I know, and seeing your profile, people will automatically realize the potential you have. I always tell people, like, whatever work you do, whatever field you choose, it's very important to show up and to tell people that you are doing good work. Otherwise, nobody will know and nobody will probably reach out. You may be the best of lawyers, you may be the best of entrepreneurs, but if nobody knows about you, I think it does not hold a commercial value if nobody knows about it.
Absolutely. That's right.
Yeah. And another thing is, like you mentioned, that if we give a quote of 100 and in response we get 5, in initial days of career, people probably get paranoid and they are like, okay, we are getting a client, we should probably take that. But I think that is also, in the process, we gradually learn that we have to have our own value and know our own worth and learn to say no, I guess.
Yeah, learning to say no is as important, if not more, as saying yes.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning, that's one of the mistakes I've made. Like, people would come to me for process design work and work that I can do, right? But it's not the core of it's not my passion. It's not the core of my expertise. It's not the thing that I would genuinely enjoy doing. But in the beginning, you kind of think, oh, I'm new, so I don't really have the luxury to say no when someone wants something, for a fee. And actually, no, it is important. It's even more important in the beginning because you don't have a team. You're a one-man shop. You have nobody else to help you. So your time it's important to spend your time wisely. And one way to effectively do that is by knowing exactly what are the, 2, 3, 4 things that you want to focus on. And what is going to be the price point. And as you said, you have to value your own value. You have to understand that your time is worth something, and you have to pick a battle. If someone doesn't fit your budget, don't take this client.
Correct.
Because chances are they will, go elsewhere anyway. If they start negotiating you down, they will keep on doing so anyway, because budget is a really sensitive topic for them.
Yeah. I loved how you portrayed value your own value. It is such an important thing for, I think, everybody. I also say it this way, like, we need to set our standards in the very beginning, because whatever standards we set in the beginning, that will probably run throughout our business or throughout our career. So if we do not have, if we lower the prices, lower everything in the beginning, it's very difficult to raise prices later on. So if you start with a particular standard, probably it's easier to maintain that standard or go above it, but it's very difficult to come down again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So Sarah, now coming to content creation, like, what made you switch to it? What was that turning point in your life? Like, okay, now I want to enter into this hardcore field and leave probably everything else behind, and I'll focus on this aspect. I'll become an expert of this field, and the world should know Sarah as an expert of legal content creation. What was your turning point?
Oh, so I think so. Initially, what my journey to content creation was to, help people And that's really what was the spirit, help people find a job initially, because I struggled to find a job. And then later down the line, I was like, okay, I have challenges as an in-house lawyer. So what are the things that I can share to, to help other in-house lawyers? And that's really where I started to obviously create legal design related content, and also like more TikTok videos, like, making fun of the in-house legal profession, but also kind of sending this message that, hey, we are all in this together. We all have the same salespeople, and we all have the same challenges. So I think, willingness to genuinely help, a willingness to also, educate, but differently, educate through visualization or educate through entertainment. These were really what fueled my willingness to create content for social media. The turning point in terms of, like, okay, I have to pick a battle now, was when I launched Law But How, because I also work for Contract Per AI as a legal design manager. So I'm doing a lot of things at the moment, right? I have got my business, and I've got my day job as well. And time isn't my best friend as we speak. So it was really important for me to use whatever time I had left to continue creating content, spent wisely. And it really taught me a very important lesson as a content creator, is that, if you want to be recognized in a particular area of expertise, you really have to speak about it. It doesn't mean that, you can't speak about other things, but you really you need to have this type of 80-20% ratio, because otherwise you digress and your audience gets confused. What is it? What should I reach out to you for? So now people know legal design, legal content creation. Sometimes I do speak about, my time as an in-house counsel, because that really served me well, and I have a lot to share about it. But it's, I always try to kind of, link this part of my career to, legal design in the form of visual content.
So Sarah, I'm going to take a personal advice from you because I heard this question. So what I do is I do intellectual property hardcore, but I love legal entrepreneurship. So I run a legal entrepreneurship podcast. I post probably once a week about legal entrepreneurship and 5 days a week about intellectual property. So is it a right strategy to give focused content, or or some, because taking my example, we can spread out this word that what could be the right content strategy?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So in terms of what you do, is your for IP, are you working more with entrepreneurs, or are you working more with lawyers, so in-house legal teams, for example, who might need IP support?
Mainly startups, entrepreneurs, and things like that.
Right. Okay. So I think, so the things about, I guess, legal entrepreneurship, this is technically the type of content I believe that would be extremely valuable, but more from the perspective of people in the legal industry. So, and if this is something that you genuinely want to share about, I think that's perfectly fine. But that would be your 20% in my example. That would be your kind of 20%, because this type of content won't necessarily drive business to your firm.
Correct.
Or for IP related projects. So that's really what I mean by being strategic. Have 80% of your time creating content on IP if you really want to, become the go-to person for entrepreneurs in IP. But then, yes, of course, you are an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is something that you really enjoy. And yes, and having this show, if anything, you're adding value to the legal community, and you might get referrals out of it. Every time, because at the end of the day, there are so many lawyers in different practice areas. So if, someone who really, follows your entrepreneurship related post comes across an entrepreneur who needs IP advice, they would think of you. So that would be more a secondary effect, I would say, but it doesn't mean that you can't do it.
Perfect. So for everybody, Sarah just proposed a 80-20% rule, where 80% you have to produce a focused content on whichever field you want to focus on, and 20% could be rest of the content, whatever you love apart from your main work.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So Sarah, again, a question comes in my mind, that is, we have so many platforms. We have LinkedIn, we have Instagram, we have YouTube, we have Twitter, we have so many things.
Yeah.
Do you propose that same content should go on each platform, or again, taking my example, and this is very random, like we can some short videos like Instagram reels for students, for student community, we can post it as a reel on Instagram. We can post IP content on LinkedIn. So this strategy should be, should same type of content go on every platform, or specific content should go on a specific platform, or how do we repurpose content?
Yeah, I was gonna say repurposing is the key answer to that. Because on YouTube is perfect for long videos.
Yeah,
that's the medium for that. If you post a 60 minutes video on LinkedIn, nobody's gonna watch it.
yeah,
It's far too long. Whereas on YouTube, the expectation is, to watch videos such as tutorials and things that are fairly, I would say, full in terms of content. So YouTube is perfect for long videos. LinkedIn, Instagram, I would go for short video content. So 1 minute maximum. 1 minute, 30 seconds, but basically not 5 or 10. So that's for video content. On YouTube, you wouldn't post written content, right? Yeah. So written content would more likely be suited for blogs or some blog posts, or even LinkedIn if you have a newsletter on there, or if you write articles. Instagram, you will have more, as I said before, short videos, but also visuals.
Yeah.
So visual content works quite well on Instagram. On LinkedIn as well, I think the visual content really makes you stand out, and that's my favorite format. And that's really kind of my signature type of content. I'm less familiar with Facebook, so I can't really comment on Facebook. And TikTok, TikTok that's a world in its own right. It's nothing to do with the other platform. It's a very unique environment. It's more educating through entertainment. It has a very strong focus on this point. But you can also, I guess, give tutorials as well. Like educational content works really well, but that's going to be more the short video format.
Yeah.
So yes, but again, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And that's really where repurposing content is key. So your show, for example, you could post sample videos on Instagram and LinkedIn, right? Yeah. Or even TikTok for that matter, focusing on one particular things that we've discussed. You can obviously have a podcast version of your video, and that would go on Spotify. And I think this is what you do. And that's really clever, because from one piece of content, you now have two, and you could have much more if you do the short videos. Then you can extract the written form, and that becomes an article.
Correct.
Then you can extract, some quotes or like the 5 takeaways from my interview with Sarah today, and that becomes a carousel. So that becomes more like a visual format, inviting people to your YouTube channel. So from one video,
yes,
you can already see a multitude of ways of creating content without reinventing the wheel.
So I think it's so important to understand that sometimes for law firms, it can be overwhelming to think about creating content. But like you said, from one videos, we can chop out 20 types of different content, and we can probably schedule them. Now we have schedulers, so schedule them so that it goes regularly on your social media profiles. So I think that is also an important aspect that everybody should know, that it's not very difficult. Even if you create 2 videos, 2 1-hour videos in a week, for like your time would be around, you'll be spending around 2 hours on that. But from that 2 hours, you can take out 20 or 40 different type of content, which you can use throughout and whenever you want, and probably link it with each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, Sarah, can you tell us some challenges with law firms and legal field particularly face in growing a brand, and how we can solve it?
Yeah, sure. So I think one of the issues that we have in the industry, and again, that's probably, I don't know if it's a law school trauma or if it's an industry specific problem, but the issue that I guess we see a lot is that lawyers usually want to be exhaustive in whatever they create, and that is obviously due to the fact that yes, they engage their liability if something goes wrong, or if the advice is incomplete, or but I think when it comes to creating content on social media, you have to understand that it's not a legal opinion. This is not a legal opinion. Like, you are just conveying some information. And depending on the format, you really have to pick a battle in terms of what you want to produce, right? So let's say that I want to share all things intellectual property. You will never be able to do that, even if you were to create 10 articles anyway. You have to pick a battle. And it goes all the way towards, if you pick a battle, you choose trademark. Again, you can't share all things trademark in one article or one visual.
Correct.
You really have to pick a battle. Talk about the trademark application.
Correct.
Focus your content on that. And again, within the trademark application, what are the key things? What are the 5-6 things that your audience will find valuable in this particular process?
Correct.
It might not be all the resources available about trademarks. It's likely to be maybe timelines. How long does it take? Cost. How much does it cost to file a trademark application? Yeah. So really focus on those key points, and choose a format that is appropriate for this type of content. I could see an infographic working extremely well. You have a timeline, nothing fancy. You go on PowerPoint, you draw a timeline, 5 steps. That's it, done. That's one piece of content. You don't always need to be exhaustive. You don't always, kind of fear about worst case scenario. Oh, but what if I say this and then someone sues me because that wasn't, no, this is not legal advice. This is information that is aimed at promoting your visibility on social media. And this is the way you should look at it. And I think that's probably, an industry problem. So I could see things, changing slightly. I can see lawyers becoming more and more vocal, and trying different things, trying videos and trying TikTok and trying. So that's, I think there is a great progress towards, diversity of content. But when it comes to technical information, I'm yet to see, people really driving change. I guess we'll see how it goes.
Very beautifully explained, Sarah. I resonate with this problem a lot. I can't even tell you how much. So these young law students will come for internships, like they come regularly, and they'll fill their articles with, heavy legal jargons, fancy language, and then I'll explain them. Nobody's going to read it. You want to write content for non-lawyers. You don't want to write content for lawyers. You want to reach out to your audience. So I always tell them that it has to be short, simple, and engaging. If it is not short, if it is not simple, if it has one difficult word and it is a legal jargon which the audience cannot understand, they'll not, because these days scrolling is so easy. On our mobiles, we have to just do this.
Yeah, exactly.
So if it is difficult, nobody is going to read.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is a very short attention span. You have literally seconds to grab people's attention. Use them wisely.
Wow.
As you said, if people don't want to engage with it, they will scroll. That takes half of a second to do that.
Probably. So I want this message to go to everybody that please don't use fancy language, and Sarah has validated it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Sarah, now a quick rapid fire round. Answer these very quickly. What are 3 things in life you're grateful for?
Grateful for my health, grateful for my family, and grateful for I guess my friends. Yeah, people around me.
Wow. Health, family, and people around you.
Yeah.
Now, 2 traits that you think are useful for a legal career.
There would be many traits, but I only have 2. So resilience, that's a big one.
Yeah.
And creativity.
Wow, resilience and creativity. So I hear creativity from very less number of people, particularly in legal career, and that's a great answer. Now, one aspiration you have for the future.
A more creative and inclusive legal industry.
Wow, creative and inclusive legal industry. I resonate again with this very, very much. Do you want to discuss, so the rapid fire round is over. Do you want to discuss some aspects of inclusivity? Now we have just spoken about it. So
yeah, absolutely. I think it's I think there is a lack of inclusiveness, I think, in terms of, and I won't even go, I mean, it's diversity and inclusion applied across, multiple spectrums of the industry, whether we're looking at the profession or there's no divergent thinking. Like it's it's kind of like we're all in this particular mold of the way things have always been, and and that's a really and that's a real shame, because we all see the world through different lenses, and I think it's important that we kind of come together and we kind of complete each other's perspective and views on things for the industry, for better legal services. Whether we are doing we are delivering legal services in a B2B context or B2C, it doesn't really matter. I think we can really drive change and make this world a better place. We have a superpower. I mean, the laws of a society are extremely important, and yet I don't think we leverage this power enough to our benefit. So.
Wow, awesome, and very beautifully explained again that inclusivity is so important, and in legal career as a whole, it is seen that we have a particular path, we have a particular way, and that is the only way. But there could be several different ways which are not explored, and I think young generation, young people understand that they want to bring a revolution in this field, disruption in this field, but still there is some fear which stops them. And probably my message would be to everyone that take a little courage and take the first step, probably, and then things will follow. Like Sarah, you're an example of this. Like, I think courage, whatever I have spoken with you in last 45 minutes, I think courage, it takes courage to be authentic. It takes courage to come out and speak the problems people have, the problems people face. So it takes a lot of courage, and thank you for that.
Oh, that's very kind. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Sarah, now quickly, can you share some key takeaways for lawyers and legal entrepreneurs?
All right. So lawyers, maybe takeaways or maybe word of advice: be experimental.
Yeah.
yes, things have always been in a certain way, but it doesn't need to be. That's just the way we've been trained, and we are taught to look at precedents to mitigate, if not avoid the risks. But that's just not what life is about. Life is about experimenting, and it's about, you know, getting certain things wrong, but also getting certain things right. And be experimental, let go of perfection, and remember that one is always better than zero.
Yes.
If you take one little step every single day for the rest of the year, you will be a couple of 100 steps away from where you are today. So it's always important to kind of keep this, that's what I like to call incremental improvement. So yeah, that would be my word of advice, I guess, for legal practitioners. And for legal entrepreneurs, whether lawyers or otherwise, I admire you. I can give any word of advice because I'm getting started. It's year one. Maybe in a couple of years, I will have much more to share, but keep doing what you're doing. And yeah, it's really brave, you know, to come up with a business idea and try to you know, make it work long term. So yeah, keep going.
Wow. So I'll just reiterate a few points which I just got from you. Be experimental, experiment, fail, try, and finally win. Take the first step. Don't fear taking the first step, and focus on incremental improvements. I think what you said, one is always better than zero. So focus on incremental improvements, and your life would be magnificent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's right.
So thank you so much, Sarah, for your time and for being on the show. I'm sure the audience is going to love this episode.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Hopefully they will.
Yeah, definitely. Hey there. Thank you for attending today's session. If you enjoyed today's session, do follow our channel and consider sharing it with a friend. My name is Priggya Arora, daughter of inspiring parents, alumna of IIT Kharagpur, engineer turned lawyer and entrepreneur, and now founder of PA Legal, where we help creators and innovators protect their intellectual property. Thank you.